So here is this tweet that I saw. On white people Twitter. And I think people need to start paying attention to it. So, Republicans are pushing a bill that would abolish the corporate income tax and charge you a 30% sales tax on everything that you buy. This bill abolishes payroll taxes, which finance Social Security and parts of Medicare. Let that sink in for a minute. Hashtag Republican tax heist. And this was posted by Aaron Black. When the GOP threatens social safety nets in any way, I don't think a lot of people, especially if they're very young, really understands what that means. I don't think they understand what it means for their parents, for their grandparents, for them, and for their children and other people's grandparents and children. Remember, this is the America that Republicans want. This is the America that the GOP wants. You see, no income tax. A lot of people, especially on the right, complain about that. A lot of people, especially on the right, always complain about taxes. Taxes are too high. We don't want to pay taxes. Moochers are the ones that use taxes, as if they don't pay for roads and fire departments and the cops they love so much and shit like that. The idea here is that everybody is supposed to be happy at this. They are supposed to be jumping for joy because now this means, wow, they're no longer going to have to pay any taxes. Everything that you would get from your employer would be just in one check. It would stay there in the check. No federal, no FICA, no Social Security, no welfare, no huge chunk taken out every week. This is supposed to make you feel good because, of course, everybody bitches about taxes. Except, like I said, those income taxes are what fund a lot of things you depend on, even if you want to bitch about other people abusing them, even if you want to bitch that you don't use them. Income taxes you pay cover essential services. They are designed to safeguard your well-being and the well-being of other people just like you, whether it's for retirement, Medicare, any type of federal oversight on relief programs that people depend on. They depend on them to survive. These programs, I don't care what the GOP tries to tell you. I don't care what your conservative right-wing neighbor tells you. These programs are not a matter of who's lazy. They are not a matter of mooching or trying to steal or not wanting to work or not having worked hard enough or not deserving basic everyday necessities or being a loser or bootstraps or any of the shit they try to say to get your attention off what it's really about. Okay, these are funds that you pay throughout your life to ensure you have a guaranteed safety net and your family members have a guaranteed safety net in case shit happens. It's like an insurance policy. That's why it's called Social Security. That's how these taxes work. That's how all taxes are designed to work. That's just the way it is. I don't know who has a problem trying to get this through their head. But people, including you, get old. They get frail. They cannot work 60 hours a week on their feet all day for $13 an hour, especially past a certain age. People become disabled. People are born disabled, or they get into accidents. They can't afford health insurance. Life in this country is hard enough without having to face a system in which you can't retire or you can't survive if you become disabled or pregnant or mentally infirm, because there is no more safety net. Do you understand the scale of what it means if you just sit back and let the GOP have their way and take away Social Security and retirement and Medicare? What the GOP says when they say they're going to eliminate federal income tax on payroll, what they're saying is they're taking away your Social Securities. This is what they want. This is exactly what they've been planning for quite a while, okay? Carlin called this almost 20 damn years ago. It's about wanting to steal your Social Security so they can use that money to pay their rich friends. You paid into it, and your parents and your grandparents, and they just want to come in and take it away. They want to take it away, and in case you forgot, here it is right here. Right here from his mouth, coming for your Social Security.
And now they're coming for your Social Security money. They want your fucking retirement money. They want it back so they can give it to their criminal friends on Wall Street. And you know something? They'll get it. They'll get it all from you sooner or later because they own this fucking place. It's a big club, and you ain't in it. You and I are not in the big club.
Not in the big club. Not in the big club, their big club. That's what it's all about. It's about power. It's about, like he also said, more for themselves and less for everybody else. That's all they care about. It's what they want. And just like Carlin said, once they decide they want it, they are not going to stop until they get it all. Until they get it all. And Carlin was actually saying that they will get it all. If they want it, their little club, they are the minority, the vast minority, but they want your Social Security. And now that they've decided they want it, there is no talking to these people. This is the way they are. The cruelty is the point, as I've heard other people say. And here's how it's going to work. Here's how the newest American dystopia is going to play out. Okay? Hey, you. There's no Social Security anymore. You don't get anything anymore. You don't deserve security anymore. That means you are not going to retire at 65 or 67 or 70 or 80. You don't get to do that. Unless you're richer than shit, you're going to have to work because there's no more safety net. You don't get to pay income taxes. Aren't you happy about that? We did a favor for you. We did that for you. No more taxes out of your paycheck. Aren't you happy? I mean, we're sorry. Income taxes used to cover things like retirement and Medicare. But, you know, we did you a favor. We took that away. And then they're going to blame you. They're going to blame you. They're going to say that it was you that bitched about taxes. You as in everybody that doesn't exist anymore, because someday when you're 90, you're going to want to retire. All right? And then the conversation is going to switch to you being stupid for wanting to actually retire at 90 or 80 or 70. It's your fault that you were not smart enough to save hundreds of thousands of dollars for your own future, because you're on your own. Even when you're facing death, you're on your own. Just like now, think about it for a minute. Think for a minute what it means to be on your own now. A lot of you are probably living it. Our culture is dog eat dog all over, all the fucking way. All right? People can't afford a carton of eggs now. They can't afford a bus pass. They can't afford vehicles. They can't pay their rent. They don't have health insurance. A disturbing number of people are still without proper medical care. All right? And now they want to take away your fucking retirement benefits. All right? They want to leave you to work until you drop dead. That's what this means. That's what no safety net means. There are also a disturbing number of people in this country who are still cognitively conditioned to look down on the poor, look down on people who don't have the means to compete with other people over who has the best this or that. All right? That very much includes the GOP. They consider you a failure and a loser, all right, if you don't have a nice home or a nice car, or you can't afford groceries or medicine. Imagine somebody who looks down on a person because they can't afford insulin, because they don't have the ability to help their children when they have a toothache. They can't pay to save their lives when they get into an accident. This already happens in this country. It's already happened for a very long time. Imagine that kind of rat race, superficial, competitive, miserable existence in your 90s now. Imagine that. Imagine your parents and grandparents having to live that. Imagine wearing a diaper and you can't feel your feet and you don't remember your son's name, but you need to get your ass to work because they stole your retirement money. Ironically, it's money that you worked a lifetime to pay into so you could afford the eggs and the medicine and have just 5 minutes of solace before you die, before you meet your maker. And they took it away from you because they wanted to use it to pay their friends. And they will conveniently ignore you. When you get to that point someday and you complain about all the federal taxes that you had paid into the system for decades, I am not going to be happy after working and putting up with shit and not even being able to afford a decent life through work in my life, only to be told that there is nothing left for me when I get to a point where my back hurts when I bend over, or I'm starting to have memory problems, or I feel too sick to even get out of bed. All right, years and years that I paid into it, and they are going to ignore you when you're in that position and you wonder why, when they took it away, did you not get paid back for what you put into it? Why, when they took it away, did they not give you back what you paid or put that aside for when you retire. Because sure, they can cut it off, but it's also cut off for you now, and you worked to pay into that system. You worked to be taken care of. You can't put everything on your family. You don't want to put everything on your family. You want to be able to take care of yourself. And that is what Social Security is for. That is what Medicare is for. But you're just going to let them take it away. They're going to ignore you, and they're going to ignore you because they stole that money. That's why they took away your Social Security, you idiot. They wanted to steal what you put in for your own future. They don't care about you. And they'll say the reason that it's not there is because they eliminated income taxes. They eliminated the income taxes, so that's why you actually don't get retirement anymore. We decided to do away with that a few years ago, or 5 years ago, or 10 years ago, or whenever you're old and they tell you that you're going to have to work until you drop dead. And then you're going to say, that doesn't answer your question. You didn't ask them why they took away your social safety net. You're asking them why you didn't at least get back the money you paid into it. And they'll repeat the same answer like a broken fucking record. And that's all that you're going to get for them, is that there is no money for you because we eliminated income taxes. You know? And the reality, of course, is that they have been itching to take away your Social Security for a long time. And now these plans to eliminate income tax are floating around. Do you think that's just happenstance? If they were to manage to do this, that's it. You can kiss your retirement and your Medicare goodbye. You better start saving up a lot of money, which I hope you can do, considering people are not having children because they can't afford it. They cannot buy homes because they can't afford it. They can't buy a carton of eggs because they can't afford it. And then you'll be on your own. You'll be completely lost, up the creek without a paddle, and it won't just be you. Your elderly will also be on their own, okay? That means your Aunt Tilly, who shits her pants twice a day and doesn't know what planet she lives on, will have no safety net, no retirement stipend, no Medicare at all, and the services that covers. All those daytime TV commercials you see about elderly people calling to find out what new benefit options are there for them, and call this store to get the adjustable bed that you need. And what am I going to do when I'm no longer able to work? Retirement may not be enough. So what am I going to do? You can kiss all of that goodbye. They're not going to have any help. Medicare will be gone. All right? If your Aunt Tilly wants to survive, the GOP is going to tell her she's going to have to work. Same with your Grandpa Joe with the broken hip and the early onset Alzheimer's. No safety net. He doesn't get to retire if he wants to continue to eat food and buy medicine. Same as you. Same as you right now. Imagine your Aunt Tilly and your Grandpa Joe with the broken hip who shit their pants, not having anyone to take care of them, not having any money, not being allowed that tiny little bit of dignity. And of course, you and your family and millions of other families, They would never dream of Aunt Tilly or Grandpa Joe having to walk to work at the age of 80 because naturally they won't be fit to drive anymore. Families would never dream of Aunt Tilly or Grandpa Joe standing behind a cash machine for 10 hours a day with a cracked hip, or getting reamed out by a 19-year-old manager because of their frequent bathroom breaks due to incontinence, or possibly maiming or killing themselves on equipment because of memory problems. They're not going to want that. But Aunt Tilly and Grandpa Joe are without money. GOP took away their safety net. So now the family has to take them in. You have to take them in. Your family and everybody else's family is now saddled with the full financial burden of these people's generation. They're stuck having to take care of their every need financially, physically, emotionally. No health insurance also means no mental health care either. No in-home aids. No Craftmatic adjustable bed. None of that shit. When you take Social Security and Medicare away. Okay, so now when you reach the age of 70 and your health starts to deteriorate, and there is no safety net for you either, you can also be called stupid for not saving up, because social programs were eliminated by the GOP. Remember, according to them, social programs are for moochers and losers and people who just don't want to work. How would you like to hear that about your Aunt Tilly and your Grandpa Joe working at the age of 90? Even the current Fox News brain dead are falling for this shit. These people are retirement age. These people, and I'm sure you have at least one or two in your family, they are retirement age. And Fox has them believing that taking Social Security is only probably maybe going to affect their grandchildren. These zombie cucks actually think that their retirement and Medicare is always going to flow freely, like puke from a dog. They legit feel warm and fuzzy that their grandchildren might someday be inconvenienced, but at least they won't. Boomer bullshit logic all the fucking way. I mean, look at this shit. Everybody's heard of this woman. This woman, who I think is in her 70s, makes the news as if it's a feel-good story. That she walks 24 miles to and from work every day at her age. It's penned as a feel-good story, something you should be happy about. Look at how up by the bootstraps this senior citizen is for walking to her job, making shit money, and then walking home at the end of every day. It's a feel-good story here because her co-workers, who also get paid shit probably, had to save and pool their money together to get this woman a vehicle. Not to afford her a proper retirement, not to save her from having to worry about her house getting taken away if she doesn't work in her 70s. But of course, that's not something I'm sure any of her co-workers would have been able to do, even if they wanted to. They have their own bills and their own groceries and families to worry about. So at least what they were able to do is buy her a vehicle. So this senior citizen
who should be lying back in a beach chair in Maui or something, instead can at least not have to walk 24 miles a day so she can work her job. You see a lot of this shit around. There's a lot of this shit going around the web. And you better believe it's all tied in together. Almost as if the wealthy who own and control all these big media groups around here are trying to groom you, for lack of a better term, trying to get you used to and feeling good about this type of situation. And their crackerjack income tax scheme means shit anyway when they also want a nationwide 30% sales tax on everything you buy. They want to take away your Social Security, and they want to up the bill on your grocery receipt by 30%. Now, an 8% sales tax like I have in my state is pretty small potatoes. Everyone has a few extra cents rolling around in their pocket. Not everybody. Some people can't even afford that right now. But most of us can. A nickel and a couple of pennies. But 30%? 30%. I don't know if you realize this, but 30% is something they're not going to have a change jar for. 30% is not something that they are going to say, go ahead, I got it. 30% is a huge fucking increase. 30%, so now you can definitely go without your small potatoes and your egg cartons too. You'll have to struggle to buy groceries and then add another 30% to the bill. You think you're poor now. You think you can't cover rent or buy any food. Well, just sit back, shove your head firmly up your own ass, and let the GOP add a 30% markup to your financial woes. Stopping by your home on the way to dump off Aunt Tilly and Grandpa Joe because now they have no safety net and you're going to have to take care of them too. On top of your 30% increase on everything you buy, not just groceries. Even though Aunt Tilly and Grandpa Joe spent like 50 years of their lives paying into Medicare, paying into Social Security, because their biggest fear is having to burden their families. But they just can't work. And they just can't work because they're fucking 90. They're seniors. They're not robots. They're not Energizer batteries. They're people who are going to get old. They're going to get frail. They were supposed to have been taken care of so they wouldn't have to burden their families. But now, unless their families are happy with the idea of Aunt Tilly and Grandpa Joe going back to work because these Republicans stole their money, then their children and their children's children are going to have to foot the bill for them. Oh, and on top of this, let's not forget, if the GOP had its way, there's no birth control or reproductive rights either. No, you'll have to keep quiet. You can't even fuck yourselves into a sense of security for your own futures. You can't even freely fuck yourselves to while away the time and forget about how badly you're already being fucked by the GOP. Because who knows? That might end up in being forced to bring more children into an already crowded household that can't even afford a fucking egg. Do you understand what this means? To have your government just take everything away. And tens of thousands of Aunt Tillys and Grandpa Joes will go completely forgotten, uncared for, and ridiculed by their politicians. Politicians who stole their money. The exact same money for securities that these people paid into over a lifetime of work. I don't give a shit what anyone has to say about that. Because that is the dystopian America that you will be looking at without these safety net programs. That's the dystopian America that the GOP wants. They don't care about you. Think about what that means regarding your loved ones and your neighbor's loved ones and everybody's loved ones. It's not just you. And it's not just the old, but that's the future that's waiting for your young. That you may very well be forced to have while you can't buy eggs. And you can't afford a home. And you have to care for Aunt Tilly. And you have to care for Grandpa Joe. Because there's no safety net for the elderly anymore. It's enough to make you want to jump out the fucking window. Like it's a horror movie. Wake up. Get your head out of the sand. And stop listening to right-wingers. Stop listening to these Republicans that don't care about you. Stop allowing them to paint a portrait of inner city moms with no education or lazy people that just make the choice to not work. As if that's an actual choice in a country like this anymore. Stop letting them destroy your entire fucking future while telling you that the only real problems in this country are pronouns and cartoon candy characters wearing high heels. And while they have your dumbass distracted by literal rainbows, they're trying to pull the rug right out from under you regarding your money. Money that you didn't mooch off of anybody. Money that is there specifically to prevent a dystopia. These programs, Social Security, retirement, Medicare, even food stamps, state Medicaid, everything that is in existence. These programs are simply essential for the safety and the security and the well-being and the dignity of each and every one of us who were born into wealth and have a silver spoon shoved up our ass. You need to understand that frailty and exhaustion and a need for assistance in life, that's going to be a reality for each and every one of us someday. That's exactly what tax-funded security benefits are for. They are not given. They are not stolen. They are not mooched. or misused. You have damn well earned them. You paid them, you earned them. And that's especially in comparison to some real advanced nations that cover this type of shit long before their citizenry reached the age of 60. Their people have these as a guarantee from birth. Do not let them steal your life. Do not ever let them tell you that you just aren't working hard enough, or you don't earn it, or you're just trying to steal it, or you're a welfare queen, or you're not the right color, or you need to work harder, longer. Just don't let them tell you we're gonna take away what you've worked your entire fucking life for. But what the real problem in this country is gay people. What the real problem in this country is are M&Ms and A&W root beer or whatever. Whatever bullshit they pull out of their ass day by day by day. Do not ever allow them to steal your life, your safety net, your safety, your security, your dignity, and that of your loved ones, your parents, your grandparents, your children, your grandchildren. Okay? Fuck the GOP.